Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today, get ready to party with New Jersey's most wanted rock and roll party band at East Brunswick's Summer Concert Series. Then we head beneath the waves of the Jersey Shore with underwater photographer and author Herb Seeger.
I'm Vivian Leong for This Week in East Brunswick, and today we're here with underwater photographer and author Herb Segars. Mr. Segars has completed over 700 dives off of the New Jersey coast. And how did you get interested in underwater photography?
I started snorkeling in a little pond in Sayreville called Major's Pond. I really liked it. So one time when my wife and I went away on a vacation to Grand Cayman, I decided I would really like to try scuba diving. So I took a course and I got certified and I started scuba diving. Well, while I was there, I rented an underwater camera and I thought I'd try it because I thought that was kind of neat, and I already did land photography. So after my week of taking photographs in Grand Cayman, I ended up with a total number of photographs that were good of 0, and a total number of photographs that were terrible of everyone that I took. But it got me so intrigued of trying to capture what the marine life really looked like that I kept at it once I got home.
And most people won't expect to find all this aquatic life in New Jersey. What's the most interesting thing that you've seen?
I've seen a fish called a goosefish or a monkfish grab a black sea bass and eat it while I laid next to him. And I've never seen that before, and no one that I've ever known has ever seen it. So I see things like that that are just amazing. I've been swimming with sharks. I've been swimming with seals. So those are all special. But I think one of my favorite subjects was a little tiny seahorse about this big that I found when I was snorkeling behind the boat 8 miles out in the ocean. And he was just floating along, and I happened to have the right camera. I grabbed it, and I floated along with him, and I took pictures of him, and it was just an amazing experience. And a lot of people would look at that and say, so what? But it was really, really neat. So a lot of these things are so special to me that I never forget them.
And your work has been published in National Geographic as well as international publications, and you're also an author yourself, Beneath the Garden State, Exploring Aquatic New Jersey. What can we expect to find in your book?
I think the first thing that people will be surprised about is that there are so many beautiful things in New Jersey, and that, in fact, you can see anything in New Jersey. A lot of people look at our waters and think that they're dark and murky and that there's really nothing there. And once they start to see these things, they go, wow, we have a lot of great things off our coast. And in fact, we do. We have some beautiful things.
I know that you've dove off a lot of coasts in New Jersey. Okay. What are some?
Typically, I go out of Manasquan Inlet. But there's really 3 kinds of diving in the ocean off New Jersey. There's diving on rock piles, which is something I probably do the least. But there's also diving on shipwrecks, and we have more than 3,000 shipwrecks off our coast, and diving on artificial reefs. New Jersey has one of the biggest and best artificial reef programs in the United States. And when I talk about artificial reefs, my favorite one belongs to my wife. When she turned 50, I asked her to pick out something special for her birthday, and she said, I want a tugboat named after me and sunk on an artificial reef. So after 2 years of working with the state, we ended up with a 100-foot tugboat sunk off of Bayhead. It's called the Veronica M. And when my wife and I die, we're going to be cremated, and that's where we're going to end up. So those are the 3 typical kinds of things that you find. And most of these things will start in about 60 feet of water and go out very deep. My typical diving is done between 60 and 90 feet because the amount of time, the deeper you go, the less time you can spend in the water. So from a photography standpoint, I want to maximize the amount of time I have so I don't dive real deep.
And for your presentation, what will you be talking about?
Basically, I'm going to cover a lot of the things that are in the book. But there's going to be some special photographs of things that I've seen over the years that I've been photographing. And I'm also going to talk about the different areas that I have photographed in New Jersey. When I was young and I didn't have any money, I started off photographing in Shark River because it didn't cost anything to do that. I then moved further back in the river and photographed in the Back Bay. And once I got a better job and I had a little more money than I could afford a boat, I went offshore to dive. So I'm going to cover those areas, show people some of the different marine life that I find in different types of areas, and hopefully impress them with all of the photographs.
And when is your next event?
I'm doing a talk at the Scotch Plains Library on August 8th.
So where can viewers find and buy your book?
The book is available at Barnes & Noble. It's available at Amazon. People can go to my website, which is gotosnapshot.com, and order them on my website. If you order them there, you can get a signed copy. And anybody that buys one anywhere else, if they see me doing a presentation, I welcome them to bring the books, and I'll be glad to sign them for them because I'm really proud of how the book came out.
I'm Vivian Leong for This Week in East Brunswick, here with Herb Segars, underwater photographer and author of Beneath the Garden State, Exploring Aquatic, New Jersey. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.